Right. Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Porter, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Commission's weekly webinar series where we cover a variety of topics that may be of interest to libraries. We broadcast the show live every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time, but if you're unable to join us on Wednesdays, that's fine. We do record the show every week, as we are doing today, and it'll be available for you to watch later at your convenience. And I'll show you at the end of today's show where you can access all of our show recordings. Both the live show and the recordings are free and open to anyone to watch. So please do share with your friends, family, neighbors, colleagues, anyone you think might be interested in any of the shows we have on NCompass Live. For those of you not from Nebraska, the Nebraska Library Commission is the state agency for libraries. So we provide services and training and resources and databases and grants to all types of libraries in the state. So there may be shows on NCompass Live for all types of libraries, public, academic, K-12, corrections, museums, archives, et cetera, et cetera. So our only criteria is that it's something to do with libraries, something cool libraries are doing, something we think they could be doing. Things. We bring in guest speakers sometime to the show from outside of Nebraska, outside of the Library Commission and outside of Nebraska. But we also have commission staff that do presentations, and that's what we have today. Today we're going to talk about our Talking Book and Braille service. TBBS, they are part of the Nebraska Library Commission, and Gabe and Miranda are here from Talking Book and Braille, and I'm just going to hand it over to you all to take it away and tell us all about all the cool things you guys do over there across the hall.
All right, well, thanks, Krista.
Use your mouse and mobile have control.
For those of you that do know me and those of you that don't, I'm Gabe Kramer. I'm the director of the Talking Book and Braille service, and this is my new colleague, Miranda Shreves. She's our new marketing and outreach coordinator. I think, Miranda, you've been here for 3 months?
3, yep.
Yeah, so brand new. I'm going to take the first like 10 or 15 minutes here to just kind of discuss who we are, what we do, how we do it. And then I'm actually going to pass it to Miranda for most of the rest of the session to talk about some new things that we want to do for 2025 and beyond. So first off, what is the Talking Book and Braille service? We are the state's talking book library for the blind. We do serve the whole state from Omaha to Scottsbluff. We are technically a state agency, but quite frankly, I kind of think of us more as a federal agency. Most of our rules and regs come from the National Library Service, which is a partner of the Library of Congress. And the Library of Congress was established, or the National Library Service was established in 1931, I believe, so they've been around for a long time. The Talking Book and Braille service, we got our start in the early 1950s. We used to have some, what we consider sub-regional libraries across the state of Nebraska. Those closed in the mid to late 1980s. So we are a library of one here in Lincoln. Everything we do is free. Postage to and from our patrons is free. Our delivery of our materials, even our large talking book players, which if we have time, I have some show and tell that we could do later. Everything is absolutely free to us and to you. We offer books and magazines in both audio and Braille. Our books, we have some locally recorded books. We do have a collection development policy, which is Nebraska authors, books about Nebraska, books that take place in Nebraska. We don't want to duplicate our efforts that other states may do. Magazines are magazines that are Nebraska-based, things like Nebraska Life, Nebraska Farmer, Nebraska Land. We record roughly 20 different titles of magazines. No weeklies. Everything we do is a monthly or a bi-monthly. We serve the blind, visually impaired, physically handicapped, and those with reading disabilities across the state of Nebraska. We're really trying to push the reading disability. I just did end of federal fiscal year stats and was looking at some demographics. We have more people who use our service that are over the age of 100 than that are under the age of 10.
100.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
We have about 14 people that are over the age of 100 and about 8 or 9 people that are under the age of 10.
Oh my God.
So we're really trying to target the younger school age demographic, especially with the reading disability qualification now. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of kids that could potentially use our service across the state.
For free.
For free, yes.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
important part of it, the free, yeah.
We do have applications that you do have to fill out, and if you could pull up the applications. This is, Miranda's going to show you our website and how to access it.
We're at the very bottom here under Talking Book and Braille. There's a few ways to access it. Our main page is right here, and we have our applications linked right here. But then we have a bunch of these right here, and I usually just go straight to this. Which
And
has
you
our-
can pull up the individual application, yeah. So it's fairly simple. Applicants' contact information, our certifying authority. Now, to qualify for a service, you do have to have what we call a certifying authority. So not just anyone can use our service. You must qualify, and your application must be certified by one of the long list of people that are on there. We are talking to librarians, and librarians can certify our application. Then this is new as of October 1st of 2024, so October 1st of last year. We do need a parental acknowledgement for minors under the age of 18. I know that the age of consent in Nebraska is technically 19, but we are going by federal law here, so it's under the age of 18. It's just acknowledging that the parent knows that the kids have full access to our entire collection. We do not have a children's collection and an adult collection. We just have a collection of materials, and that the parent or guardian is responsible for the talking book machines. They are not cheap. So we want to make sure that if the child no longer needs or wants the service, we get those materials back. The last page is just reading preferences. Within 3 business days of us receiving this application, the patron will receive a phone call from us, and we would go over this application too. So this last page, I always figure, is not near as important as the rest of it, because they will ask you on the phone, you know, what are your likes, your dislikes, anything like that. Fairly simple and straightforward application process. We do have what's called an institutional application as well, or a facility application. So most of our institutions and or facilities are nursing homes. We can also have schools sign up for our service. Schools have a third or a second application they have to fill out. Yeah, if you want to click on that. The school application form also has the parental acknowledgement on it. Does this have, there's the form below that. The student enrollment form, there you go. So also schools need to prove to us that they do have children that qualify for our service. So we ask for the student's name and their reason that they qualify for our service. Schools have to do this every year, where nursing homes just have to do it once and they're signed up forever. Schools have to do it every year, and the main reason is because of the high turnover of students in these schools, especially students that qualify for our service. They may not be there the next year. So at the end of the school term, schools must send their equipment back to us, and then we will send it back to them in August when the new school year starts. It's kind of a pain. It's not our rule or our policy that came from the National Library Service, and we're just doing what we're told. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. I took 15 minutes, like I said I would. Miranda is now going to talk about some new initiatives and marketing strategies that we have, specifically ones geared towards partnering with public libraries. So take it away.
I think that's one of the things that I don't think librarians knew either, that they can give the approval, you know, that are an authority to do this. It doesn't have to go to like a doctor or something like that.
Yes, and that is new in the last maybe 3 years. There's been some debate on the federal level about what constitutes a librarian.
Yes.
Because every other person on that list is a quote unquote professional, a doctor, a teacher, you know, they've got an advanced degree. So the debate was, does a librarian have an MLS, or do they work in a library?
Right.
For our purposes, we tend to think of the more broader description of someone that works in the library, especially when you get to a lot of the smaller libraries in Nebraska. They don't have anyone that has.
And they're not going to.
Exactly.
No. Which is why we have, I mean, here in Nebraska, we have our basic skills program, which is a way where people who are working in a library can learn about being a librarian and what they need to do their job without having to go to a university and do a master's degree program. It'll get you some of that same for free. Also, basic skills, look it up. Scheduled for 25 there. So that can just get them the education. So we are putting stuff out there that will, you know, we don't just have, you know, people off the street coming in and being the director of a library. There is, you know, a process to vet them and whatnot.
Yes, definitely. So Miranda's going to talk about ways that hopefully we can partner with you, or you partner with us, and we get the word out more about what it is that we do, and we can get our information out to those that need it across the state. So go ahead, Miranda.
Yeah, so like Gabe said, I am pretty new here. I've only been here for 3 months. So these initiatives are all, I like to call them, and they're their baby stage. We're still working through whether or not, like, iron out the details for sure. So one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you today, what I wanted to talk to you guys today, and feel free to put comments and questions as we go, is to hear your feedback on whether or not you think these are realistic, if there's better ways to do it, or just other things that we can add into this outreach program that we want to really push in the next year. 2025 is what I'm looking towards specifically, and then hopefully we'll expand based off of what we see in this fiscal year.
You guys keep going. I'm going to step out for a second. I need to go get another different laptop.
Okay.
Keep going.
So this next year, like Gabe said, we're going to market a little bit more and wanted to partner with some libraries. There's a few ways I wanted to do this. First, we have some marketing toolkits that we're going to hopefully implement in the next few months. The first phase of this, or the immediate phase, would be a social media toolkit. We actually just got a Facebook page. Yay, go follow us, please. We're at Talking Book and Braille Services on Facebook. And it's, again, also in its very baby phase. So we're just even trying to build a platform at all right now before we get too much into it. But we also wanted to reach out to your guys' Facebooks, your social media in a more immediate way, and send you guys some graphics that you can post on your guys' pages. That way we can reach your people immediately. Hopefully that shoots some people back towards our platform. Kind of just a way to elevate all of us while getting the news out, again, in a more immediate fashion, because longer term, we're hoping to send out some print marketing toolkits. And that's going to include more of a testing phase, just so we can make sure our money is going to more effective pathways. So we're looking right now at a first phase of more, like, I guess, what's the word, geographically closer to us, but we want to eventually get to the whole state. But just for this testing phase, we're looking at a closer range of maybe Lincoln and a few Omaha libraries where we're going to send, again, that print marketing package. It's going to include a poster that can go on bulletin boards, wherever you guys want. Obviously, libraries have lots of different places to display that stuff. And you have lots of posters to display too. So wherever you think fits best, we'll have some bookmarks that have Braille on it, which I think is a really cool piece that not a lot of marketing for us has, is actual Braille. We're going to send you guys some bookmarks, and then we're going to include some postcards that's going to have a QR code on it, and that'll track the effectiveness of this marketing pathway. And then we'll also have a letter to the staff, just so we can, if the library that receives that package has not actually heard of us before, it'll include a lot of information on who we are. That way, before we even reach the public, we've updated our immediate communications on, if they haven't heard of us, this is what we do here. And that way they can be a better source of information too. Kind of not necessarily a middleman, because we want to see it as a full, like, through line, I guess is the best way to say it. But, and then we'll also include some applications in there too, because like Gabe mentioned earlier, librarians can work as certifying authorities, and that's something we really want to take advantage of by sending you guys these applications. Theoretically, if somebody comes in, they hear about our service, they can apply that same day. Previous to you guys being certifying authorities, it was a full process. They had to go to the doctor to get a signature, or at least send them the PDF to get it emailed. If we can get that done same day, that takes a huge hoop that they have to jump through away, which we want to make this process as easy as possible. That's going to get us more applications in the long run. So that's a really cool thing we want to take advantage of. And then in that letter to staff, we're also going to include all the information, and it's also on the applications too, on how you would submit that, which is honestly really easy. You just scan it and then send it right to us, or you don't even have to scan it if you just, because we do accept electronic signatures, right? Or does it have to be printed? Either way.
I don't know.
Scan it. Either way, you can still get it done same day if you scan it and send it in to us. But that's mostly surface level. We want to get everybody involved that way. And then there's a few different partnership avenues that require more of a effort on the library's part to get involved. And this is where I would love to hear some feedback on your guys' end on whether or not you think this sounds like a good idea. And honestly, you guys, if you really like this idea, could even sign up today for this. So first we have some demo accounts, and that's kind of included. I'll pull up our institutional application or our facility one, whichever one you want to call it. This application is also for libraries if you guys want to use it. And there's two different ways you can apply to us, either just straight up as an institutional account, or you can apply to us as a demo account. And that's one of the first things I wanted to talk to you guys today. You would just fill out this application as is, but you're gonna click this check mark right here. And when you do that, you won't have like a full access account. You'll have our equipment, we'll loan it out to you. You'll have access to BARD, which we haven't mentioned yet, but there's two different ways that you can use our service, either through your phone or like an online application website, whatever you want to use it through that, and you'll get our catalog through the internet, I guess, or you can have a equipment player, and that is the non-Wi-Fi accessible route, and that we send and loan this equipment player to patrons or to you guys in the mail, and then we'll send you a cartridge. If you go with us for a demo account, you'll have a limited access to those catalogs, but you'll have both of these avenues easier to use. We'll send you the equipment in the mail, and we'll give you the BARD code so you can get onto those and use that as a demonstration account to any patrons who have any questions, and you'll have all that equipment on standby. The only kind of caveat to that account is that, again, you're going to only have limited access. So the flip side of that coin is if you wanted to take an even more involved approach to TBBS and our partnership, you can sign up for a full institutional account, and that means you have access to all of our stuff. Now, to keep that account active, you'll have to send, is it once a year at least, you'll have to send stuff back to us. But in demo accounts, I don't think require that, because we'll only send you account stuff to keep your account going once. So that's the least like involved way to get involved. And then there's the institutional account, which requires just a little bit extra effort, but you have, again, that full access, which then allows you to use any of our equipment for reading hours. If you want to check a book out, you can use any of our catalogs for reading hours. I know a lot of people talk about how Libby is a good way to access audiobooks for free. With our catalog, there's no wait list to any book. You can download it immediately. That's one of the reasons why I think we're an excellent alternative. Love Libby, use it all the time. But for our patrons, there is no time limit. You can get any book you want absolutely immediately. And kind of like we mentioned earlier, one of the people or demographics we're hoping to specifically reach, especially with public libraries or libraries in general, is a younger demographic. Through this avenue, especially with the reading hours and keeping more of a partnership involved, we hope to especially get that reading disability demographic involved and more in line with our service so that we can, get the service out to as many people as we can.
If I can jump in quick.
Yes.
So the two main differences between a demonstration account and a full-fledged institutional account is the demonstration account has very limited access to our collection. I believe it is only books that are in the public domain. And if we were to loan you equipment, it is only for demonstration purposes only. Someone comes in and says, hey, what is that equipment? Or I heard you have some of the talking book equipment. May I see it? May I test it? Yes. If you were to have the full-fledged institutional account, you would have full unencumbered access to our entire book collection, which is like 300,000 or 400,000 titles. You would also have our equipment, but as Miranda says, you could actually use our equipment, use it for story times, use it in the library. If a patron came in and maybe did not want to have their own account, they could sit in a room or sit with headphones on and listen to the materials in the library. They would not be able to take it home with them because that is your piece of equipment, not theirs, but
The library.
They could use it, whereas again, a demonstration account is literally just show and tell.
And we usually try to encourage people to sign up for an individual account so they have that freedom to take the equipment home with them and choose their own catalog. But especially when we're talking about kids, I think most parents probably, that's the thing that they want a little less responsibility of, is keeping track of that equipment. So libraries having their own account kind of is another, I guess, less hoop that patrons would have to jump through theoretically to listen. They don't have to take that responsibility on of our equipment, even though we do have like a whole system set up so we can repair any equipment that gets broken, but
They're hard to break.
yeah, they're sturdy, they're older.
And then as Miranda mentioned, we do have an app. It's called Bard, Braille and audio reading download. It works on both iOS and Android phones, tablets, whatever. I always tell people that is the absolute #1 easiest way to access the books and magazines within our collection. You cut out the middleman, you cut out us. You can go on the phone, you can search our entire catalog, you can listen to it from your device. The downside is you have to have the device, you have to have a high-speed internet connection. If you don't have those, then you can go the old-fashioned way with our equipment that we sent to you. For kids with reading disabilities, specifically that demographic, we are on what we call a Bard First policy. So we will actually sign them up to Bard and only Bard, and they have to ask us for the equipment. And that's simply because this is a true story. Texas actually incorporated a state law that said any kid that a school feels has a reading disability must be notified of the Texas Talking Book Library. We can't force them to sign up to use it. We have to give them the information. Within 1 year, Texas got over 2,000 kids to sign up for their service. That law was enacted in roughly 2021. Since then, they have 9,000 kids statewide that have reading disabilities and have signed up for the service. There's not enough equipment to give all 9,000 kids.
No, definitely not.
So most of them are using their cell phones to access more.
Which
How did they notify all of this? I mean, they just had.
It was up to
schools.
so the way the law was written, the schools had to notify them, be it teachers, administrators, special ed teachers. I'm assuming we're a very large part of that.
They probably are in some sort of program already at the school.
Exactly.
That's for their.
Exactly. And to put numbers in perspective, Texas has 9,000 kids that use the service. Nationwide, there are only 16,000 kids under the age of 18. So Texas has over half of the kids. Yeah.
And that also just is proof, I think, like it's a study in and of itself of getting knowledge out there is almost 100% of the battle.
Yes.
Like once people know that the service exists, it doesn't take much convincing.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a free service.
It's sad that it took a law to make that happen.
Yeah.
But other states like ours can actually just follow that and say, we don't need the law, let's just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Let's connect with those schools, superintendents, ESUs, I don't know.
Yeah, and schools is part of this too. We're hoping to get involved with some schools and open that line of communication, and we're just trying to take as much of a holistic approach as possible, and libraries are a huge part of that. So this is the part where in my notes I ask a few questions, so I don't know what I'm looking at.
If anybody does have any questions, take them to the questions section. And I am monitoring that here. There we go. On the laptop here. There we go. All right. Yeah, so if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, ideas that you have of how this could work. I know many of our libraries do work with the schools on other things, on other programs or resources or Golden Sower. That's one that just comes to mind because I know that's a recent thing has been announced. So
and we're not looking for the libraries to kind of be a mediator between us and schools. We're looking for more of a direct partnership with the libraries to just promote our service.
Yeah, and also we want to help libraries and any of their programs that, like, I know I went to a summer reading, because that's everybody's looking at summer reading right now. I went to a summer reading workshop and we talked about just events that libraries host over the summer after school programs, and a lot of them right now are looking at just overall accessible, how do we improve our reading so all kids can enjoy our reading hour at the same level. We can help with that. That's a huge part of what we do is improve accessible to reading overall. So even we want this to be a two-way partnership as much as we want you to help our promotion. We want to help you in whatever way we can too.
We do have one question. This is something we mentioned earlier. Just how big is the equipment? I think this is a good one to show off what's actually here.
So this is our digital talking book machine. See if I can get the camera. There we go. It's probably about the size of like a 8x10 photograph, maybe.
Yeah.
If anyone used to have the old tape decks that were flat like that, the cassette.
Oh yes, yeah.
That were that same. It's the same size.
An answering machine.
Yeah,
it's like the size of an answering machine. So they're not very big. Hopefully early spring, March, April, we actually will be getting some new players.
Didn't you have photographs of them on your website somewhere?
The new player?
No, of this one.
I believe there are photos on the website. I'm not entirely certain about that.
There.
Anyway, the new machines are actually going to be just a little bit larger. They will have Wi-Fi capabilities, so you could access your BART account through the machine instead of through your cell phone. But those are not available yet, and I have seen one, but I've never actually played with one. And for those of you patrons that read Braille, we do also give out these Braille e-readers. These are super cool. We've given out about 75 of them. Again, completely free. They retail for over $2,000. So going through us is a lot more cost effective.
How does one of those work? Someone wants
Well,
to use the Braille.
I can't read Braille. So in a nutshell, I can tell you that you would download a BRF file. It's a digital Braille file. Pick it up with a cord. It's just a simple USB port.
You said it also connects to Wi-Fi.
It can. Again, you need to know how to read Braille to do that.
I've seen people use these to navigate their computers.
Yes.
You can do a lot with
You
it.
can actually hook them up. I know someone that's hooked it up to their iPad actually, and they can type, on their iPad via the. Yep.
Yeah.
But what you do is you would download a book onto one of our cartridges, then upload the book to this device. It can hold like 100 different books, I think, depending on the file size. And then as you move along here, it literally refreshes. This is 20 cells. Some of the larger devices have like 50 and 70 cell displays. This is just something you can put in a backpack though. It's
much more like the size of like a paperback book.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And even slightly smaller than that. But these keys are to type. Again, I don't know how to type Braille, so. But those are our two devices that we do hand out. And you'll see up there we have a standard player and an advanced player. The advanced player has an extra row of buttons. That is the only thing that makes it quote unquote advanced. The standard player will actually do everything the advanced player does. It just takes more keystrokes.
Yeah.
I prefer the advanced player. I find it actually easier to use. But our core demographic of patron is an 80-year-old, and just more buttons intimidates them. Even though the advanced player I think is easier to use, and I feel that
once you figure out where the buttons
exactly, but they just see more and it's scary.
And they sometimes just don't wanna.
Yes.
I don't wanna. I had this with my mom, who's not 80 yet, but new car. It has all display, it's green now to adjust the heat and everything. And I was home with her, and she's like, I don't know how to change it. I see all this thing like, well, you can also still have the regular buttons too.
Yeah.
Oh, she just needs someone to tell her it's okay.
Yes.
You can do it. Just use the regular. It's never. No, okay, thank you. Never adjusted the fan in the car. She's like, I just don't. I'm too old. I don't need to learn new stuff. Just give me something simple.
Yeah.
And again, if you're just reading books, the standard player is fine because people read a book from start to finish. They put the cartridge in, press play, let it go. I find the advanced player a lot easier to use if you're reading magazines, and it's like, I don't want to listen to that article, skip to the next one. I don't want to listen to that one, skip to the next one. Or we found out that people that are doing research, so say college age students, I'm listening to this nonfiction book. The first 12 chapters are irrelevant, but I need to get to chapter 14. I can just skip. It's a lot easier to skip that way using the advanced machine than it is to use the standard player that has the less buttons on it. Anyway, any other questions? And Miranda, I think you have just a little bit more.
Yeah, any questions?
So,
has anybody done this in their library already? Is using these or providing this service or helped with getting some kids on board? I know we also have some libraries that are joint school and libraries, which I think would be hopefully really easy to get them to connect with the schools too. Check into the questions section of your GoToWebinar, and we'll take all your questions and comments. I don't have anything right now, but I'll keep an eye on it.
That's fine. Yeah, you can go and finish up.
I was just gonna say, one of the things that we're doing like very immediately is we're going to be sending out a few emails in the immediate future. We just got our newsletter finished, so we'll be sending that out to our patrons and maybe even to some libraries. But also, we're just gonna be sending out again that marketing package, since we do have a digitized social media version, that will be going out sooner rather than later, because we could just send that over the email, which is the plus version of that.
We're going to attempt to send that out to all public libraries because
Yes.
we do have your contact information. The only thing I ask is you just look at it.
Yes.
If you look at it and go, that's not for us, delete it. That's okay. But at least look at it.
Yeah, and especially with that marketing package, we're doing the most to make it as easy as possible for you. I've written out all of the messaging that we have, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I know it's hard to just like hear about a service and then all of a sudden I have to write this caption for a graphic that I've seen once and it's a lot. So even just like, even if you don't post it, just looking at it, knowing what our service is, again, it's half the battle. Just getting the knowledge out there.
That's a question I get a lot about some of the things we offer is, do you have a pre-written like press release or announcement that I can use without having, the librarian having to figure out, okay, I like this website, so they got cool stuff. What's the really, break it down, just the real quick sound bites. The elevator pitch, And the most of that we can provide, which we try to do a lot with our things, is hugely helpful to people, I think.
Yeah. So look forward to that soon, hopefully. And then just in general, we're hoping to, again, keep that line of communication open. So we would love to hear back from you, even if, again, just open it, read it is all we ask, bare minimum. We would love to see above and beyond that if you wanted to reach back out to us. If there's a different way other than email that you think is easier to contact you, we have reader services advisors that are on the phone, answering questions all the time. That's all on our website. If you have literally any questions about anything.
I think we'll also make sure, I know some people, we haven't, you all have a newsletter. We have our website with the blog. We have a Facebook page for the commission, mailing lists that you can sign up for our mailing list, but our systems, our regional library systems each have their own, I don't know if they all print them, but at least they email the system newsletters.
Yes.
That for some people will read those newsletters rather than ours because it's their local,
And I know
So
Cindy
put something in.
out
We've been
west,
included.
we actually were in, I think, just their last. newsletter.
Western Library System, So we'll make sure that they put things in their newsletters as well, for those of you that like to, that keep an eye on things going on locally from them,
And even earlier on, we did talk to the directors and they were all very excited to hear more about us, which is very exciting to get that feedback. So we're hoping that even now that we're going down further into just the local librarians, you guys, that we'll get some even more involved in the process and the systems themselves. So.
And you have the new Facebook page. I know you mentioned it earlier.
I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again. Please go follow us because we are very, very early on because they're starting from scratch. So more people just following us.
Because I know many libraries have Facebook pages themselves.
Yes.
And if they, if you look for now, do you have a link to our Facebook somewhere on your page?
Yes, I know Janet put it where all of the links are. So it's somewhere in. A lot of pages on our website.
We do, yeah.
Don't get intimidated by it. Social networking. See, there we go. Right there.
But just close that out.
This is us.
So if you are logged into your library's Facebook page, you'll get there, and then you can like it, and there's a My About Today's show.
But
So if you do use Facebook to share things to your patrons,
please
like
link
them,
us.
and then reshare when Miranda's pushing out things that are like, hey, here's the new thing from us, or here's just a reminder, here's what we do. That's a good way to share. If you've got some of your patrons are really, and I know some libraries have a lot of activity on their Facebook pages, like the community actually using it to keep up with what the libraries do.
I remember being a kid and I followed my public library's Facebook religiously. So it is, yes, we would love to work with you guys on that. But yeah, I guess other than that, I didn't have a ton else. Again, we just wanted to hear some feedback on other ways you would like us to partner with you guys, if there's any ways that we can get involved to help you in any of the marketings that objectives that you have heard. Do you have any feedback on if you think there should be any changes, or even if you just really like it, you want to tell us, we'd love to hear that too. And then again, if there's any other ways outside of email that you think would be awesome to reach you at, let us know. But other than that, we have a reading program coming up in the next few months that I'm excited about. So other than just our service in general, we'll be probably a little bit in touch with those programs too. But
Like a summer reading?
yes, summer reading. So
We're really
that's a little
trying
bit down the
to
pipeline, but
revamp our summer reading program.
I know there used to be.
For all intents and purposes, died.
we're just doing a lot in the next
Like,
year to kind of,
Yes, we're trying to just get more involved with that.
Yeah.
And on the national level, the National Library Service has partnered with the collaborative summer reading
The one that
program.
we do, okay.
The one
great.
that, yeah, the kind of the big one that everyone does. And the
Color Your World.
Yeah.
This year, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This year, yeah, this year.
the National Library Service is partnering with them to try and do like an accessible summer reading program. This is year 3 of that partnership, but it's, for all intents and purposes, it's kind of year 1. The first 2 were kind of like a trial run.
Yeah. So we're gonna be jumping in on that.
Yes.
too, then. Awesome, okay. You're working with Sally with that, which I hope to get the word out.
yeah,
I'm
talking
not
more about it.
Sally Snyder is our coordinator of Children's Youth Services, for those of you who don't know, and she does a lot of our, sends out the manual to libraries or the USB with the items that you, promotional things and whatnot, and does, works with our systems that we were just talking about on workshops about,
Yeah. Love
some of
Sally.
them are coming up.
Yeah, I went to,
February, I think there's some more.
there was one last in December.
There was one summer already, but there's some coming too.
Yeah. But as a kid, I never realized how early you get into the planning of summer reading, but it does make sense that it started already.
Some libraries, I've heard, they take like a week or 2 of downtime after the current year ends and then immediately start thinking about the next.
Yeah.
It's like a year-round project just to get it for that few weeks or months of it actually happening. Yeah. And then some of them say, don't talk to me until next year. I don't want to hear about it again until next year.
Or the exact opposite.
So again, I think we've got about 15 more minutes. So if there's any questions, comments, concerns, anything, we're here to answer.
And I know we've talked about reading disabilities a little bit, but the other 2 points that I don't know if we've touched on or stressed enough yet, obviously visual disabilities, and that goes for a larger range than probably most people realize.
Yeah, so you do.
Yeah, that just popped up. See, I can't see when you got all the typing, so can you explain more about what actually is considered a visual or the physical disability that would make it qualified?
So obviously, blindness is
There's the obvious ones,
legally blind, which does not mean you cannot see. Like it's just black. There is an actual legal definition, which I believe is actually on our application.
Yeah, it's.
Trust me, if we get an application that has like an optometrist on it, we're not going to question what their actual visual acuity is. We're just going to say, okay.
You're the expert.
Yeah. But that is the legal definition of blindness, is 20/200 in one eye. Visual disability is people that maybe have like macular degeneration or are losing their vision. Physical disability is someone that for some reason cannot read physical print books. Yeah, that is the classic example, is someone that cannot hold a book. You know, they were born with one arm, or We have a patron that gets really fatigued really easily. So reading is fatiguing. She gets through like 2 pages and has to put the book down. She loves to listen. It's a lot easier. So that is your physical disability. It's someone that can't read regular print for whatever reason. Again, if we get a signature, especially from an MD that has physical disability check, we're just gonna say, okay. We're not gonna call the doctor.
We want to reach as many people as possible.
Exactly.
We're not looking for reasons to cut people out
Yes.
of it. And then for reading disabilities too, I know we've already talked about it, but that's also a very wide range. The only disability that we don't technically count is, what's the word?
Actual illiteracy is not considered a disability according to the federal government. I've been with the Talking Book Library for 15 years. I've been director for 5 years, and in that 5 years as director, that has only come up once. We've gotten someone that literally could not read. It was an adult, and I had to turn them down because illiteracy is not considered a disability.
That would be when you'd send them to direct them to other resources to learn to read.
Yes, I sent them to like Lincoln Literacy, places like that.
Right. More appropriate resources.
Exactly.
Yeah. But dyslexia,
Yes.
those kind,
Yeah. Dyslexia is kind of the classic example, but not technically a visual disorder. It's a neurological disorder. But even if a child is just a grade level behind in reading, that's considered a reading disability. They qualify for our service.
If they've been labeled or entered into any type of reading program at school, they should qualify for our service.
Special reading program because they're struggling.
Exactly. Yes.
Or learning program, or they should qualify for us.
There's a lot.
I'm writing up our marketing plan still, doing, again, little details, and I did some math just to see broad range, what are we looking at, and I think it was within 15,000 kids in Nebraska could technically qualify just based off reading program numbers. So again, we have 9 and 10 and under. I think maybe 20 if we're looking at 18 and under.
18 and under. It was a little bit higher. It was at 40.
Still a lot less than, like, there's so many kids that we could reach here. Even if we hit like 5 to 10% of that number, that's huge increase. We just want to really push and get knowledge out there. But
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
So, I don't know, Krista,
I don't know if anybody has any, I mean, we can wrap up. You guys are all, anything last minute things or wrap up you want to mention?
I don't know, maybe this isn't an issue, but I know the parental acknowledgement has been a very hot button topic. I know COSLA has had some serious issues with this. That is not our policy. That came from the National Library Service. In fact, it actually came from Dr. Carla Hayden herself. And if I'm reading between the lines, I was actually on a committee to help kind of write up this policy. I was not at any of the meetings prior to, that was above my pay grade, but I am under the impression that it literally came from Congress themselves. And
we're doing with the higher.
Exactly.
That they want the parents involved. Which, I mean, we like the parents involved as well. I think
it's also putting our policies in line with the Library of Congress. You cannot get a reading room card unless you're 18 years old. So having the parents sign off for our services, because we do serve children, is kind of putting us in line with the larger Library of Congress itself.
And then I guess I'll end on our applications, just a reminder that libraries themselves can apply for an institutional or a demographic account. And I think the only thing that would really become a question is who would sign on these applications. We take signatures from pretty much everybody. Some libraries prefer if a director signs. We ourselves don't hold a policy on who can.
You all decide who's the authoritative person to agree to.
Yes.
Yeah.
The same thing with a lot of things here at the commission, applying for grants, doing other things.
The only thing we ask is that it's consistent,
Yes,
is that whoever you decide is that authority figure, they're the permanent authority figure.
That's who we're gonna keep in contact.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Whether it's your library director, your president of your library board,
Yeah.
whoever you determine is in charge.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, and then kind of on that same line of parental acknowledgement, that is also included. We do include that on these institutional acknowledgements. The only time we don't require a parental acknowledgement signature for institutional accounts is if it's a nursing home, because we can reasonably assume that there's no one there that's 18 and under, but we can't with libraries.
Theoretically speaking, someone under the age of 18 could be in a nursing home, but we just make the assumption that they're not.
Yeah.
But yes,
And that also comes from the federal guidelines as well. They
yes,
say the same
exactly,
thing. Yeah.
yes. And yeah, if you are, so we're talking to librarians, if your librarian wanted to sign up for an institutional account, they would need to fill out the parental acknowledgement section.
Mhm.
Again, the only thing we asked is that it says legally authorized representative. That is the same person who's signing everything else.
Yeah.
Which
Which makes it easier technically to fill out the paperwork.
yes,
But we just want to make sure that you know that when you sign.
we would prefer the director,
Mhm.
but it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Mhm.
We've got, yeah, some libraries do it certain ways and some were, and if you want to do it now and you're in between directors, it's
Yes.
okay to have someone, you know, who else who's got to do
Yes.
it from the city or from your board.
Yep.
Yeah. Right, we do have a thank you presenters. This is a great service for Nebraska communities.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, anybody last minute desperate questions people want to ask before Gabe and Miranda are gone? Okay, they're not gone. You can always reach out to the library through the website. We got our emails and contact info everywhere. If you're interested, reach out. If you have any questions, ask them and they can help you spread the
You want to
word.
click on the contact link there?
There you go, there. Phone, you also have
That
the.
doesn't have our email address on there.
Yeah,
It's
it
a
does.
link,
Oh, it's a
You-
link, perfect. Yep, that's exactly,
and then
You can fill it out here.
One there.
Reach out to us.
Yep.
We're quick to respond. Please reach out.
Yeah.
oh yeah, if you don't hear back from us within like half a day, something horrible.
Yeah. So the building's on fire. That's the only thing about it.
I don't see any other questions coming right now, and that's fine. You can always reach out
Yes.
when you do decide you want to start doing this. All right. So I think that will wrap it up for today's NCompass Live. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for coming here and talking about this. It's been a couple of years since, it was only a year, I don't know, since last time you were on the show. But we always try to keep y'all updated on what's going on and various things we do here at the commission. And, this is the time to do this because new staff, new people, new things coming out to you, so keep your eyes open.
New year.
Yeah, new year, new TBBS. All right. All right, so that wraps it up for today's show. I'm gonna go to our NCompass Live website here now. If you use whatever is your search engine of choice and type in NCompass Live, the name of our show, we are the only thing called that on the internet. Ooh, we're in like our 16th year and you still, look, it's just.
That is
us.
awesome.
We picked a good name where nobody else
People
wants
pay
it.
a lot of money for that.
And we paid nothing. So this is our main website. We got our upcoming shows here. Well, here's today's shows going on. I'm working on getting more dates in February finalized, so you'll see things getting added to here. But here is where our archives are. There is a link just underneath them to access the archives. The most recent one will be at the top of the page here. The recording of today's show will be up by the end of the day tomorrow at the latest, as long as GoToWebinar and YouTube cooperate with me. Everyone who attended today's show and registered for today's show will get an email from me letting you know that the recording is ready. And we'll have a link to the recording on our YouTube channel. Normally I say we'll have a link to the slides or presentations, but we didn't have anything. We just showed the website, so I don't have to worry about that this time. We put it out through our mailing list here in the commission, and we also have for NCompass Live a Facebook page as well that I will we do have a Facebook page. So if you do like to use Facebook, give us a like over there. We wrote here's a reminder to log into today's show. We post when our new shows are coming up, when recordings of the previous shows are available on here. We use the hashtag, a little abbreviation of our name, NCompLive, to post on here, on the commission's Twitter account and Instagram. NCompass Live has its own Facebook page. We don't have anything else for the show, but we use the commission's for other things. So on our show archives, like I said, it will be posted here, most from the top. If you want to know if we've done a show on any particular topic previously, you can type in a search feature here. You can see if we've done something before. Do be aware when you're watching these recordings, I just mentioned, I think we're on our 16 years of shows. We have 16 years of shows here. This goes back to all the way back to when our NCompass Live first premiered, which was in January 2009. So just do pay attention to the shows. Everyone has an original broadcast date here. So you'll know when the shows happened. Some of the information for older things will become old, outdated. Resources may have changed drastically. Links might be broken. People are going to work at different places than when they presented for us 10 years ago, possibly. But this is something libraries do, keep things for historical purposes. And as long as we have a place to keep them, which right now all of our show recordings are on our Library Commission YouTube channel, we will always keep them available here. So if you want to see what was going on at the commission 10 years ago, go ahead, have fun. All right, so I think that's everything. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'll hope you join us next week when we are talking about this year's One Book, One Nebraska, The Long March Home, a Willow novel of the Pacific. Next week's show, both authors, both Tuscaloosa and Marcus Brotherton, will be with us next week to talk about their book. They're joining us, I think, remotely, but we'll see. So just sign up if you want to learn more about this year's One Book, One Nebraska title and get your library involved with that. And sign up for any of our other shows coming up. Like I said, look for more of those February dates getting filled in. They're going to be coming very soon. All right. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.